Have you ever thought about this? Like, how on earth do pianists memorize something that long? I mean, they sit there and play an entire piece that's several pages long without a single sheet of music in front of them, not even blinking. It feels like magic, right? And not only do they memorize it, they actually express emotion, make it sound natural, even beautiful. You start thinking, okay, that's got to be some kind of gift. I could never do that. But here's the truth. It's not about being born with talent. It's about knowing the right way to practice. I've seen it with my own eyes. People who aren't even music majors, just regular adults learning piano as a hobby, who end up memorizing 4 to 5 pages classical pieces accurately and confident. Not because they're geniuses, but because they used a memorization method that actually works. On the other hand, some people practice super hard and still freeze when they sit at the piano. They say, I can't remember a single note. I've been trying to memorize this for months, but I keep messing up. That usually means one thing. They've fallen into the trap of just repeating notes over and over, hoping it'll stick. So in today's video, I'm going to show you a completely different way, a method that actually helps the music stick in your mind. For real. We're not just going to memorize a few bars. We'll break down the structure, create memory keywords, and build mental images so you can see the music in your head. Whether you're learning on your own or taking lessons, if sheet music makes you go blank, this might just change everything for you. All right, let's get into it. First, I want to talk about one big thing I've noticed, a common mistake people make when they try to memorize music. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You sit at the piano and go, okay, G sharp, then C sharp. Wait, what was next again? You're trying to remember every note name or finger number one by one, but the second you get nervous or lose your place, boom, it's gone. Let's take Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata as an example. Even just looking at the opening, it feels like a rainstorm of notes. So if you try to memorize it like C sharp, E, oh, was it this? No, maybe that. It's only a matter of time before your brain feels scrambled and your hands stop. You'll be sitting there thinking, wait, where am I in the piece right now? That's because you didn't understand the flow. You were just trying to hold on to scattered bits of information. The third movement of Moonlight Sonata might look fast and complicated on the surface, but it's actually built on one repeating arpeggio pattern throughout the entire piece. Here's what I mean. Just focus on this shape. C sharp, E, G sharp. That's all you need to know to start. Your hand holds this shape like this, and then we just move it. This note stays the same, and this part just shifts like this. Now here, and again here, just follow that same pattern. If we break it down, it's really just repeating movements based on that original C sharp to E to G sharp shape. But here's the thing, if you try to memorize each individual note, instead of seeing the pattern, you're basically zooming in too far. You're not even looking at the trees anymore. You're staring at blades of grass. And that's when the problems start. You forget the melody, your hands get confused, and you keep restarting from the beginning over and over again. That's the loop people get stuck in. So, to sum it up, if you try to memorize long pieces by individual notes, you'll never make it to the end. Especially in fast, repetitive pieces like the third movement of Moonlight Sonata, you have to focus on the structure. Which brings me to the second point. Don't start with the small, start with the big picture. It's similar to the first tip, learning the patterns, but now we're zooming out even more, just like when you read an essay. You see the introduction, the main body, and the conclusion. You don't get stuck reading every single word first. You get the flow. It's the same with music. You need to understand where the section starts, where it's going, and how it ends. The piece we're playing as a story, and let's try to read that story together. So for example, let's say we go from here to here, but how many times does that section repeat? 1, 2, 3 times. And this part, it's a shorter, more compact repetition. You can think of it like this. The first 3 repetitions are 2 bars each, but then the 4th and 5th ones, just 1 bar. So what does that feel like? It feels like it's speeding up. You're going along in 2-bar phrases, then suddenly, short, and then boom, it explodes in a forte. That shift creates intensity, and we have to reflect that in how we play. And this actually helps with how we express the music too. For example, let's say the whole section is supposed to gradually get louder. Even within that, there should still be smaller dynamics, a bit louder here, a bit softer there. If you look closely at the full section, you'll see parts where it builds, then pulls back, and then comes back again. And eventually gets even more intense. And then 다음에 boom! It drops back down to piano again. So this is the kind of shape you want to see in the music. You need to be able to visualize it, just like I sketched it out for you a minute ago. You should try drawing it too, not just looking at the teacher's version, but actually drawing it yourself. That's how you really understand the music. And if you look a bit further into the piece, you'll see little details like this too. Look here, this part holds for 2 beats, right? It stops for 2 beats. And now here, it's the same shape, the exact same passage, same notes, same movement. But what's different? This one lasts 2 beats, and this one only lasts 1. So things like this, you need to visualize them in your mind. Create a mental picture of what's happening. This piece has an ABA structure. Mozart's pieces often do, right? Then you might notice, oh, the A section is 8 bars and the B section is 4. Or maybe inside the A section, the same phrase repeats twice. Or in the B section, there's a modulation, and suddenly the mood shifts completely. That's how you want to read the sheet music, and visually and structurally, not just note by note. So even if you wanted to ask, wait, where was I just now? Where should I pick up from again? You wouldn't need to, because when you understand the structure visually, those questions don't even come up. That's the power of mapping out the music. So to sum it up, first you need to be able to break the music into sections and then actually draw it out, just like I showed you. Think of it like a map with clear structure and direction. And you know that saying, right? You only truly understand something when you can explain it to someone else. So just like I walked you through the 3rd movement of Moonlight Sonata, you should be able to explain its structure to someone too. That's when you know. You don't just know the notes, you understand the music. This piece has an ABA structure. In section A, you have fast arpeggios running through. Then in section B, the key changes and the mood shifts completely. In the final A section, the opening pattern comes back, but it's more intense. The left hand gets more active too. Being able to explain it like that, no, that's the goal. When I teach, I always ask my students first before I explain anything. I'll say, you try explaining it. It's okay if it's wrong, just give it a shot. And after they try, then I explain it clearly, and then I ask them to explain it again, but this time with that new understanding. Once you can explain the music like this, it means you've already understood the piece on a deep level. And when you truly understand it, memorizing becomes so much easier. Even if you make a mistake, you'll have a sense of where it happened and where to return to. Remember this, don't just be someone who memorizes the piece, be someone who can guide it. Don't just follow the sheet music. Here's a great way to practice that. Open up your sheet music, try summarizing the structure out loud, label the sections. For any measure you're unsure about, ask yourself, what role does this part play in the overall structure? Once you can do all of that, the only thing left is practicing it into your hands. All right, everyone, so we've understood the piece with our brain, but of course we also need to train our fingers because our hands move faster than our brain, especially with fast pieces. Your fingers can run ahead before your brain has time to catch up. That's why it's so important to build muscle memory. But remember, and the first step is understanding the structure mentally. Once that's solid, then it's just about training your hands to remember it physically. In the next part, I'll show you how to actually connect that structure to your fingers and how to practice in a way that makes memorization stick. So for now, try applying what you learned today and give it a go yourself. Being able to explain the music, that's real practice. It might take more time at first, but once you get used to it, you'll memorize the next piece twice as fast. And most importantly, when you memorize a piece this way, you won't forget it on stage. Ever. Seriously. Starting today, change the way you memorize. And when you do, your playing will never be the same.